Welcome back to Bizarre Bureau, where we peel back the layers of history to reveal the truly strange. What if I told you there is an ancient document that lists kings who lived and reigned for tens of thousands of years? Not 1,000, not 2,000, but over 20, even 30,000 years each. This isn't science fiction. It's the Sumerian King List, an artifact that has baffled historians and archaeologists for over a century. Are these just mythical tales, or is there a hidden truth to these impossibly long reigns? Let's dig in. Our story begins in the land between the rivers, Mesopotamia, what is now modern-day Iraq. This is the cradle of civilization, where the Sumerians invented writing, the wheel, and even the 60-second minute we still use today. Around the turn of the 20th century, a scholar named Hermann Hilpert unearthed several clay tablets and prisms. One, in particular, stood out. It was a four-sided cuneiform prism, now famously known as the Well-Blundeau prism, and it contained a list. But this was no ordinary list of rulers. The Sumerian King List starts with a bold proclamation. After the kingship descended from heaven, the kingship was in Eridu. It then names the first king, Alulim, who supposedly ruled for an astonishing 28,800 years. His successor, Alaungar, reigned for 36,000 years. The list continues with several more kings, each with reigns spanning millennia. In total, the first 8 kings before a great flood is mentioned are said to have ruled for a combined 241,200 years. This is where things get truly bizarre. How could anyone possibly live, let alone rule for so long? The most common explanation is that these numbers are not literal. Scholars suggest they might be symbolic, representing the power, divinity, or importance of these early rulers. Imagine it as a way of saying, these kings were so legendary, their reigns felt like an eternity. The numbers often follow a pattern, frequently being multiples of 60, a sacred number in Sumerian mathematics. So it could be a complex numerological system, a way of encoding celestial or divine significance rather than actual years. It was a way for the Sumerians to create a grand, epic origin story for their civilization, rooting their authority in a divine, timeless past. Then, the list takes a dramatic turn. It states, after the flood had swept over and the kingship had descended from heaven, the kingship was in Kish. This line is fascinating because it directly parallels the great flood story found in other ancient texts, including the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Book of Genesis. After this cataclysmic event, something changes. The reigns of the kings, while still incredibly long, start to become shorter and slightly more believable. The first post-flood king, Jishur of Kish, is listed as reigning for 1,200 years. Still impossible by our standards, but a huge drop from the pre-flood tens of thousands. As we move further down the list, through different dynasties and cities like Uruk and Yor, the reigns continue to shorten. We encounter Etana, the shepherd who ascended to heaven, who ruled for 1,560 years. Then there's a Enmebaragesi of Kish, who has a reign of 900 years. What's significant about Enmebaragesi is that his name has been found on other archaeological artifacts, providing the first independent, real-world confirmation of a king from the list. This is a crucial turning point. It suggests that the list isn't pure fantasy. It's a blend of myth and actual historical records. The further down the timeline we go, the more the reigns align with a normal human lifespan. We see kings ruling for 30 years, 25 years, 6 years, numbers that make perfect sense. So, what is this document? Is it a history book, a myth, or something else entirely? The prevailing theory is that the Sumerian King List was a political propaganda tool. By the time it was likely compiled, around 2100 BC, various city-states were vying for control over Mesopotamia. The list creates a single unbroken line of succession passed down from the gods. It argues that only one city at a time could hold the kingship. If your city's ruler was on this divinely ordained list, your claim to power was legitimized. It's like creating an ancient divine mandate that says, we were chosen by the heavens to rule. Think of it this way. The early mythical kings with their impossibly long reigns establish a sacred ancient pedigree. The later, historically verifiable kings connect that divine past to the present-day rulers. It's a masterful piece of political storytelling, blending myth with reality to create a powerful narrative of legitimacy. The list wasn't meant to be a precise historical record in the way we think of one today. It was meant to shape history, to justify power, and to unite a land of competing cities under a single divinely sanctioned ideology. But that doesn't stop the more speculative theories. Some look at those massive numbers and wonder if they're not years at all. Could they be a different unit of time? Or perhaps they were misinterpreted. Some even venture into ancient astronaut territory, suggesting these kings were extraterrestrial beings with far longer lifespans. And the kingship descending from heaven was a literal description of their arrival on Earth. While these ideas are exciting, they lack the archaeological and textual evidence that supports the more mainstream scholarly interpretations. The beauty of the King List, however, is that it leaves just enough mystery to keep us wondering. The Sumerian King List remains one of history's most compelling puzzles. It's a document that operates on multiple levels, as a mythological epic, a political charter, and a fragmented historical record. It shows us how ancient people understood their place in the world, connecting their present to a deep divine past. It forces us to question our own understanding of history, myth, and the very nature of time itself. The line between myth and reality blurs, leaving us with the incredible story of kings who were both men and legends, rulers of Earth who were touched by the heavens. What do you think? Are these reigns symbolic, a mistranslation, or something else entirely? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the ancient past at Bizarre Bureau. If you enjoy unraveling history's greatest mysteries, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss our next investigation. Until next time, stay curious.